The colony world of Leora was filled with tall alien figures, their shining skin glowing under the twin suns. They walked with pride, their voices loud, their presence strong. Among them, there was one who stood apart, a girl too small, too quiet, too delicate for their standards. Her name was Arya. She was barely 4 feet tall, while others in her kind stood almost twice her height. The colony often whispered when she passed, "Too small to matter, too weak to survive." They laughed at her tiny frame, her fragile hands, and her soft voice. But Arya carried a secret. Inside her large glowing eyes was a spark of something different. She often felt it when the night came, when the sky turned violet and the stars appeared. She would sit alone on the edge of the cliffs, watching the universe in silence, as if waiting for something or someone. That someone came on a day the colony never forgot. A human ship descended from the sky, a visitor from the distant stars. The people gathered as the ramp lowered and a tall figure stepped out. His name was Ethan, a human explorer sent to study the alien colony. Ethan was different from anyone Arya had ever seen. His body was not glowing like her people, but his eyes held warmth, his smile carried kindness. He was not like the proud warriors of her colony. He was calm, gentle, and curious. The others welcomed him with suspicion. But Arya's heart trembled when she first saw him. Days passed. Ethan tried to learn their language. He asked questions. He studied their ways. The colony elders watched him carefully, warning him not to interfere too much. But Ethan was drawn to the strange girl who always stayed on the edges of the crowd. One evening, when the suns were setting, Ethan found Arya sitting by the cliffs. Her small figure looked almost like a shadow against the wide horizon. He approached slowly, not wishing to frighten her. She turned her glowing eyes toward him, surprised but not afraid. "You are always alone," Ethan said softly. His words were simple, but his tone was filled with care. Arya hesitated. "I am different," she whispered. Her voice carried sadness. "I am too small, too weak. They say I cannot do what others do." Ethan sat beside her. "Small does not mean weak," he replied. "I have seen warriors who are tall but empty inside. And I have seen children who are small but carry great strength." Arya looked at him, her heart beating faster. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Not even her own people. She felt warmth spreading through her chest. A warmth she could not explain. From that day, Ethan and Arya began to meet in secret places. They walked in the forest. They watched the stars. He told her stories of Earth, of oceans and forests and skies with only one sun. She listened with wide eyes, drinking every word. But something strange began to happen. Whenever Ethan stood close to her, her body reacted. A faint glow shimmered across her skin, brighter than it ever had before. The air around them felt alive, as if filled with invisible energy. The colony noticed. They whispered louder. "The small one is changing," they said. "Something unnatural is happening." Elders began to watch her carefully. Some warned her to stay away from the human, but her heart was already bound to him. Arya struggled with fear and hope. She wanted to believe she was more than what the colony said, yet she worried that maybe they were right. Maybe she was too small, too fragile, unworthy of love. But Ethan's presence gave her courage. "You are not weak," he told her again. And again, "You are stronger than you think." His voice was steady, his eyes full of belief. One night, under the silver light of the moons, Arya confessed her deepest fear. "I am afraid," she whispered. "If I open my heart to you, what if I break? What if they are right, and I am too small for love?" Ethan reached out and gently touched her hand. "Arya," he said softly, "it is not size that decides. Love, it is the strength of the heart, and your heart is stronger than anyone I have ever met." Her eyes filled with tears, her small hand trembled in his. For the first time in her life, she felt seen, not as a weak stranger, but as someone who mattered. But as they sat there, a shadow moved in the distance. Unseen eyes were watching. The Council of Elders had sent spies, and what they saw that Night would change everything for both Arya and Ethan. The whispers of the colony would soon grow into something louder, something dangerous, and Arya's quiet life was about to be shaken forever. The next morning, the colony was alive with whispers. Voices carried through the crystal streets like echoes of a storm. They spoke of the human and the small stranger, of secret meetings under the stars, of glows that should not exist. Arya walked through the marketplace, her head low. She could feel their stares, heavy and sharp, her people's voices wrapped around her like chains. "She is too small," one said. "Her body is weak, it cannot carry even her own kind's legacy." "Yet look," another whispered, "when the human is near, she shines like fire, unnatural fire." Arya clenched her hands, trying to ignore them, but the words sank deep. She had always been an outsider, but now she was something worse, a danger. Ethan noticed the change. When he tried to greet her in the open, she avoided him. Her smile was hidden, her eyes full of fear. That evening, he found her again at the cliffs, the place where their story had first begun. "You are pulling away," Ethan said gently. His voice carried both sadness and concern. Arya lowered her eyes. "They see us," they whisper. "They say I am cursed. They say you bring sickness to me." Ethan frowned. "Do you believe them?" "I don't know," Arya whispered. Her small frame trembled. "All my life they told me I was too small, too weak. Now when I am with you, something inside me changes. What if they are right? What if it is dangerous?" Ethan shook his head, his voice firm. "What you feel is not sickness, Arya. It is strength. You are stronger than they ever allowed you to believe." But even as he spoke, unseen figures listened in the shadows. Two members of the council hid among the rocks, their eyes glowing cold. They watched the bond growing between human and alien, and they feared it. The next day, the whispers grew louder, rumors twisted into warnings. Elders declared that the small one was unstable, that she was touched by human corruption. Children were told not to go near her. Adults turned away when she passed. Yet, in the silence of night, Arya's heart told a different story. She felt alive in ways she had never known before. Her glow had grown brighter, her steps were lighter, her dreams were vivid with strange images, stars swirling, energy crackling, voices calling her name. One night, she dreamed of holding something small in her arms, a warmth she had never known before. She woke up shaking, unsure if it was hope or terror. Ethan saw her distress and stayed by her side. He told her of Earth, of times when people also whispered against what they did not understand. "Fear is easy," he told her. "Love is harder, but love changes everything." Arya listened, her heart caught between fear and desire. She wanted to believe him, but every step in the colony reminded her of her weakness. Every whisper said the same thing: "You are too small, you are nothing." But something inside her rebelled. For the first time in her life, she wanted to prove them wrong. Still, danger was closing in. The council gathered in secret chambers. They spoke of the human's influence, of the girl's unnatural glow. "She is unstable," one elder said. "If this continues, she will destroy the balance." "She must be separated from him," another growled, "before it is too late." But not all agreed. One elder, old and wise, said quietly, "Perhaps this bond is not a curse. Perhaps it is a sign." His words were drowned in the noise of anger. Back at the cliffs, Arya sat with Ethan once more. Her voice was small but steady. "They will not let us be. They will try to tear us apart." Ethan looked at her, determination burning in his eyes. "Then we will fight, Arya, not with weapons, but with truth, with the bond we share." Arya's glow shimmered again, brighter than ever before. The air between them vibrated as if the universe itself was listening. But in the darkness beyond the cliffs, the council spies returned with their report. The decision was made. Arya and Ethan's bond was too dangerous. The colony was preparing to act, and soon, whispers would turn into commands. And as Arya closed her eyes that night, She felt the first faint pulse deep inside her body, a strange rhythm, new and powerful, like a secret heartbeat she had never known before. The colony of Leora grew restless. The whispers that once circled quietly had turned into voices of warning. Elders spoke of danger, of corruption, of unnatural change. The small stranger was no longer just an outcast. She was now a threat. Arya walked through the glowing streets with fear in her heart. Every gaze was heavy, every voice sharp. Mothers pulled their children away from her. Warriors shook their heads in disapproval. The people of her world had decided her bond with the human must not continue. But despite the weight of their stares, Arya's steps always led her back to him. Ethan waited for her on the cliffs, his tall figure steady against the rising moons. When she saw him, her fear melted for a moment, replaced by a strange warmth that only he could give. "You should not be here," Arya whispered, her eyes darting nervously. "They watch us. They follow me." Ethan's voice was calm, but firm. "Let them watch. I will not leave you, Arya. Whatever they say, whatever they plan, we will face it together." Her small hands trembled as she reached for him. "They believe I am dangerous. They will try to take me from you." Ethan held her hand tightly, his voice steady. "Then they will learn what danger truly is, not you, but their own fear." In that moment, something passed between them, more than words, more than comfort. It was a bond, unseen yet powerful. The air around them shimmered faintly, like the universe itself was acknowledging their union. But in the shadows, the council grew more determined. They had seen enough. Spies reported the glow, the closeness, the energy that grew stronger every time the human and the small alien girl were near each other. The elders feared it. They called it forbiddance, unnatural, a path that could destroy their kind. One night, the council summoned Arya. She stood in the great chamber, her tiny figure dwarfed by the tall glowing elders. Their voices boomed around her like thunder. "You are reckless," one elder roared. "You carry corruption from the human. You dishonor your people," another hissed. "You are too small to carry such power, and yet you defy us." Arya's heart raced. She wanted to speak, but her throat felt tight. She could only whisper, "I did not choose this bond, it chose me." The council erupted in anger. One slammed his staff against the floor. "You will end it," he declared. "You will stay away from the human, or you will be cast out forever." Arya's eyes filled with tears. Fear burned inside her, but another flame burned brighter. Defiance. She thought of Ethan's words. "Small does not mean weak." "I will not leave him," she whispered, her voice shaking but firm. "You cannot break what has already formed." The chamber fell into silence. The elders stared at her, shocked by her boldness. None had ever heard the small stranger defy them. That night, she ran to the cliffs, where Ethan waited. She told him everything, of the council's threats, of their fury, of the danger closing in. Ethan's jaw tightened, but his eyes burned with determination. "They fear what they do not understand," he said, "but we will not let them decide our fate. Arya, this bond is ours, not theirs." Arya's glow flickered brighter. Her heart pounded, and again, deep inside her, she felt it, the strange hidden rhythm, stronger than before, a secret heartbeat, growing. But their secret bond was no longer hidden. Warriors of the colony began to follow them, their eyes cold, their hands ready. The council wanted separation, and they would not wait much longer. Ethan knew they had little time. He took Arya's hands and looked into her glowing eyes. "Whatever happens, promise me you will not let them break you." "I promise," Arya whispered, though her voice trembled. Above them, the twin moons shone brightly. Below them, shadows moved across the land. The colony was preparing to strike. The forbidden bond between human and alien had been sealed. But now it would be tested, and neither Arya nor Ethan could know the cost that was coming. The days after the council's warning were heavy with tension. The colony's people watched Arya with sharp eyes. Some whispered, some mocked. Others moved away as if she carried a plague, but none of it stopped the changes that had already begun. Arya's body no longer felt the same. At night, her skin shimmered brighter than before. Soft waves of light pulsed across her arms and face. Sometimes her legs trembled with weakness. Other times she felt bursts of strength that startled even herself. She tried to hide it, but Ethan saw everything. One evening when they met at the cliffs, she stumbled. He caught her in his arms, his voice full of concern. "Arya, you're shaking again. You need rest." Her glowing eyes flickered with worry. "It is happening more often, Ethan. I feel strange. Like something inside me is waking up." Ethan held her close. "We'll face it together. You are not alone." But the colony had noticed too. Warriors whispered to the council about her glow. Farmers spoke of seeing her eyes shining, even from a distance. The rumors grew. Some said she carried human disease. Others claimed she was a weapon, a danger planted by outsiders. The council grew restless. They debated night after night. Some wanted her exiled, others wanted her locked away. But none could agree on what her changes truly meant. Arya, unaware of their secret meetings, sat under the twin moons one night. Her hands pressed against her chest. Her heart raced. But beneath it, she felt another rhythm, faint yet steady, a second heartbeat. Hidden deep within her, her breath caught, tears filled her eyes. She did not understand what was happening. The next morning, she walked through the marketplace. The people stared openly now. Some backed away, others muttered cruel words. "There. Look at her. The glow has spread. She is unnatural. She should not walk among us. She brings shame." Arya's shoulders shook. But she forced herself to keep walking. Her small frame seemed fragile, yet her steps carried a quiet defiance. That night when she met Ethan again, she could not hold her fear inside. "Something is wrong," she whispered. "I feel a life inside me, but I do not know if it is mine." "Or something else." Ethan froze, his heart pounding. He looked into her glowing eyes, searching for answers, but there were none. Only fear, only mystery. "If it is life," he said gently, "then it is not wrong, Arya. It is a gift, and we will protect it." Her hands trembled as she touched her stomach. Her glow brightened faintly, as if responding to his words. But the shadows were moving again. The council had sent spies to follow her. They watched from afar as Ethan held her hands, as she glowed brighter in his presence. When they returned with their report, the council's anger exploded. "She carries corruption," one elder shouted. "Look at her body, it is changing. We warned her, and she defied us." Another slammed his staff. "We cannot wait any longer. If she carries human seed, then she is no longer one of us." Yet in the council's rage, one elder remained silent, his old eyes full of thought. He alone wondered if the change was not a curse, but destiny. Back on the cliffs, Arya leaned into Ethan's arms. Her voice was soft, filled with doubt. "I am afraid, Ethan. If what I feel is real, then my people will never forgive me. They will try to tear it away from us." Ethan pressed his forehead against hers, his voice steady. "Then we will fight for it. Whatever it is, whatever it becomes, we will not let them take it." The wind howled around them, carrying the sound of the ocean below. Her glow pulsed stronger, brighter than ever before, and deep inside her, the second heartbeat throbbed again, louder this time, as if demanding to be heard. But the danger was closing in. The council had already chosen their path. Warriors prepared to move under cover of night. Their orders were clear: separate the small stranger from the human. End the forbidden spawn before it destroyed everything. Arya's life was no longer only her own. Something was growing inside her, something the colony feared, but something Ethan called hope. And soon, the world would know the truth. The colony had waited in silence, but silence could not last forever. Arya's glow had grown too strong. Her steps were slower now, her breaths deeper. Her small body seemed fragile, yet her eyes carried a light no one could ignore. Rumors had reached every corner of Leora. Children whispered that the small stranger carried a hidden fire. Merchants claimed they had seen her body bend in pain, then shine like the moon's. Warriors said she walked with the human at night, their forms glowing together as if bound by fate. One evening, when the moons rose high, Arya stood on the cliffs with Ethan. Her hands pressed against her stomach, her eyes wide with fear. She could not hold it in any longer. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice breaking, "there is no doubt. Now I feel it, I know it, something grows inside me." Ethan's heart stopped. His breath caught as he stared at her trembling form. "Arya, are you certain?" Her glowing eyes filled with tears. She nodded slowly. "It is life, Ethan. A life I never thought I could carry. They always said I was too small, too weak, but now it is inside me." Ethan's hands shook as he held hers. "Then it is a miracle. Arya, you are not weak. You are carrying proof that love is stronger than fear." But even as he spoke, dark figures moved among the rocks behind them. Spies of the council had followed. They heard every word. Their eyes widened in horror, their voices carried back to the council chambers. The next day, the great bells of the colony rang. Elders summoned the people. The chamber was full, glowing bodies standing shoulder to shoulder, eyes burning with curiosity and fear. Arya was dragged forward, her small frame surrounded by towering warriors. Ethan tried to reach her, but spears blocked his path. The High Elder raised his staff. His voice thundered through the chamber. "The whispers are true," he declared. "The small stranger carries human seed. She is no longer one of us. She is a danger to our people." Gasps filled the chamber. Voices rose in shock and anger. Some cried out that it was impossible. Others screamed that it was unnatural. Arya stood trembling, but she lifted her head, her glowing eyes meeting the crowd. "It is true," she said, her voice shaking yet clear. "I carry life inside me. It is not a curse. It is not corruption. It is love." The chamber exploded with chaos. Some shouted for her exile. Others demanded her destruction. Ethan broke through the line of warriors, his voice fierce. "You call love a danger, but it is fear that blinds you. This life is proof of something greater, something your fear cannot kill." But the council would not listen. One elder slammed his staff. "If she carries this child, it will break our world. She cannot survive. Her body is too small, too weak. She will die, and the creature will destroy us." Arya's chest tightened with pain. Her hand went to her stomach. Her body glowed fiercely, as if the life inside her answered the elder's words. Gasps filled the chamber. The glow spread outward like waves of silver light, touching the walls, the people, even the council. For the first time, silence fell. Every eye stared at the small stranger shining in the center of the hall. Her fragile form looked ready to collapse, but her light burned stronger than anyone else's in that silence. An old elder rose slowly. His voice was weak but steady. "Perhaps this is not destruction," he said. "Perhaps this is destiny, a bond between two worlds, a child of both stars." The other elders shouted him down, but the words had already reached the people. Doubt began to spread. Some looked at Arya not with hate, but with wonder. Ethan stood at her side, his hand gripping hers. His voice rose over the noise. "She is not too small. She is not too weak. She is carrying hope, and I will fight anyone who tries to take it from her." The chamber split in two. Voices of fear clashed with voices of wonder. The council roared with anger, ordering warriors to seize them. Arya's glow pulsed again, stronger than ever, and deep inside her, the second heartbeat thundered louder, as if declaring itself to the world. The shocking truth was no longer a whisper. It was alive, undeniable, unstoppable, and the colony of Leora would never be the same again. Asterisk. The night after the chamber erupted, the colony was split in two. Some whispered in fear, demanding Arya's exile. Others whispered in awe, calling her a sign of destiny. But above all, one thing was certain: the council had made its decision. Warriors were sent to watch her every move. Their glowing eyes followed her through the streets. Spears in hand, They spoke little, but their silence was heavier than words. Arya felt the weight of the entire colony pressing against her. Her body weakened, but her heart burned stronger. Ethan stayed by her side, refusing to leave. He watched the warriors, watched the council, and he knew the storm was near. That evening, Arya sat beneath the cliffs, her small hands pressed to her stomach. The faint rhythm inside her was louder now. She could feel it clearly, a second heartbeat, strong and alive. Her tears fell quietly, not of fear, but of wonder. When Ethan joined her, she whispered, "It grows, Ethan. Every day it grows. And I feel both pain and strength." He knelt beside her, his voice steady. "Then we will protect it, Arya. No matter what they do, no matter how hard it becomes, we will protect this life." But even as he spoke, torches lit the night. Warriors marched toward the cliffs, their shadows long and sharp. The council had sent them. "Take her," the captain ordered. His voice was cold. "She must be separated from the human. She cannot carry the child. It will kill her. It will kill us all." Ethan stepped forward, his eyes blazing. "You will not touch her." The warriors laughed bitterly. "You think you can fight us alone, human?" But as they advanced, Arya's glow burst outward. The air shimmered like a shield around her. The warriors halted, shielding their eyes from the blinding light. Arya trembled, but she did not collapse. Her voice, small yet powerful, rang through the night. "You will not take this from me. This life is mine. This bond is mine." The warriors hesitated. Some lowered their spears, unsure, but the captain growled, "She is dangerous. She cannot survive this. End it now." Ethan gripped Arya's hand tightly. "Run," he whispered. And together they fled into the forest. Warriors chased them, but the glowing shield around Arya slowed their pursuit. Trees lit faintly in her wake, as if the child inside her carried its own power. They ran until the forest opened to a cave by the river. There, Ethan helped Arya sit. Her breathing was heavy, sweat glistened on her skin, yet her glow remained strong. "They will not stop," she whispered weakly. "They will hunt us until I am gone. Then we will endure," Ethan said, his voice fierce. "If we must fight, we will fight. If we must run, we will run. But I will never leave you." Arya. Days passed in hiding. Arya grew weaker, but the second heartbeat grew stronger. At times she could not stand. At times her glow shook the cave walls. Ethan hunted for food, kept her safe, and every night he whispered promises that she was not alone. But the colony did not give up. The council sent search parties across the forests. Their voices carried through the night. "Find the girl. Find the human." One stormy evening, thunder split the sky. Rain fell heavy on the land. Lightning struck the cliffs. The cave trembled as the storm raged. Arya clutched her stomach, crying out in pain. "Ethan!" "It is happening," she gasped, her glow bursting across the cave walls. Ethan held her, fear gripping his heart. "Stay with me, Arya. Stay strong." But outside, shadows moved closer. Warriors had found them. Their voices rose above the storm. "Surround them. Do not let them escape." The storm howled. Arya screamed, and the glow became a blinding wave of silver light. The earth itself seemed to answer her pain. Rocks cracked, trees bent. The river roared louder. The struggle was no longer only theirs. It was the struggle of life against fear, of hope against hate, of love against power. And as the storm raged and the warriors closed in, the world itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the moment that would decide everything. The storm raged above the forest. Thunder rolled like drums of war. Lightning carved the sky into fire. In the cave by the river, Arya lay trembling, her small frame glowing brighter than ever before. Ethan held her close, his voice desperate, yet steady. "Stay with me, Arya. Hold on. You are stronger than all of them. You can do this." Her eyes shimmered with tears. "It hurts, Ethan. I am so small. I don't know if I can." He pressed his forehead to hers, his voice breaking but fierce. "You are not small, Arya. You are vast. You are carrying the future in your hands. Outside, warriors gathered, their spears raised. Their captain shouted through the storm, "End it, before the child is born, before the curse spreads." But as they prepared to strike, the earth itself shook. A wave of silver light burst from the cave. Forcing them back, Arya's glow spread through the storm, merging with the thunder and lightning. Her scream echoed with the roar of the skies. Ethan shielded her with his arms, whispering again and again, "You are not alone. I am here. We are together." Then, in one blinding flash of light, silence fell. The storm outside stopped for a breath. The warriors froze in fear, for in that silence came the cry of new life. A child's voice, soft yet clear, filled the cave. Arya lay trembling, her face pale, but her eyes glowing with joy. In her arms rested the child, small but radiant. His tiny body shimmered with light, brighter than even the strongest elder. A bond of two worlds, human and alien, alive before their eyes. Ethan's heart pounded as he touched the child's small hand. Tears filled his eyes. "Arya, you did it. You gave life, you carried hope. You are stronger than anyone ever believed." Arya smiled weakly, her glowing eyes never leaving the child. "They said I was too small for love, too weak to carry anything. But now, I carry the future." Outside, the warriors could not step forward. The child's light spread across the land, touching trees, rivers, and skies. The storm itself calmed, as if bowing to his birth. The people of the colony gathered in awe. Some fell to their knees, whispering in fear, others in wonder. The council arrived, their staffs glowing, ready to condemn. But when their eyes fell on the child, their voices faltered. Even the high elder staggered, his staff trembling in his hands. This cannot be," he whispered. "The child lives. The small one has survived." Arya, weak but strong in spirit, lifted her head. "You called me fragile, you called me nothing, but look, I carried what none of you believed possible. This is not a curse, this is a miracle," the people murmured, divided no longer by whispers, but by awe. The old elder who had once defended her stepped forward, his eyes wet with tears. "This child is not death. This child is destiny, the union of two worlds, born from love, not fear." The crowd grew silent, their glowing eyes turned toward Arya and the child in her arms. For the first time, no one laughed at her size. No one mocked her weakness. She was no longer the small stranger. She was the mother of a miracle. Ethan stood tall beside her, his arm wrapped around both Arya and the child. His voice rang clear through the chamber of storm and silence. "You see weakness. I see strength. You see danger. I see hope. This child will change everything. He is not the end of your world. He is the bridge between ours." The council could not deny it. The glow from the child was too strong. His heartbeat pulsed through the air, felt by everyone present. Warriors lowered their spears. Children gasped. Mothers wept. Fathers bowed their heads. Arya closed her eyes, her small body weary but victorious. She whispered softly to the child, "You were worth every whisper, every fear, every struggle. You are proof that love is never too small." And as the colony of Leora stood in silence, the miracle child cried again. His voice echoed across the land, across the stars. A new chapter had begun. The girl who was once too petite for love had proven stronger than anyone imagined. Her child would grow to carry the legacy of two worlds. A child born not of weakness, but of unbreakable love.